I had this GPS kind of tracker. So people could go to my blog page and it says, "Where's Art?" You could click on it and it would show you where I was at.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And so,
And that's, you just like, then you just did it?
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
Up and do that.
I worked at all kinds of, painted a Quaker meeting house in Iowa, and I worked on a fishing boat in Maine and a whale watching boat, and worked on a building, peeling logs up in Alaska.
Wow.
Come out of the bank, we'd got our money. I said, let's just sit down here and burn this. That's all we're just going to put it in the gas tank and burn it anyways.
Yeah. Let's just burn this. So you got till March 31st, people. Get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it now.
Because it really draws, people are excited to be part of this. When we first started it, people have lived here all their lives and they would come down. I never knew this business existed down here.
Because like...
I bought a car from every dealer that's been on board. Well, last year the top artist got $12,000.
Yeah.
And the top artist in each category was getting like $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, anybody from anywhere can enter the contest.
Oh.
We've had people from Africa and England.
Oh, look at that.
So
So it doesn't matter where you're at.
Last year we gave away $43,000.
That's a lot of money.
The first place artist.
That's a lot of money.
First place artist got $12,000.
Even that,
Yeah.
that's a lot of money.
Nice-
$10,000.
nice chunk.
Yeah.
$12,000.
$12,000. Yeah. An oil change too.
Ah.
It was free. It was a free oil change because I got a brand new car, and then the first oil change apparently is free.
Ah, right.
I've never heard of this. Is that one recording, Kylie?
So what did you get?
Oh, I got a new truck because, I do a lot of adventure stuff. So I needed a truck where I could put kayaks, bikes.
Right.
And the thing is with trucks is they don't have good gas mileage. Like I wanted like my dream truck, I guess, would be like a Toyota Prius. But that's a truck.
Well, I got a 150 Ford that's like a Toyota Prius.
How is that possible?
It's got electric assist.
Oh, it's got electric assist?
Just like the Prius.
How many miles per gallon do you get on it?
Actually, it ranges up, running around town, I've been getting about 17, 18.
See, that's no. I want a truck where it gets like 40 miles per gallon. Okay?
Yeah. I don't know that they got a truck out that's doing that yet.
Well, they do. So like a new Ford Maverick came out, and it kind of comes in two different variations. One is like a front-wheel drive truck. It gets 40 gallons, 40
Miles per gallon.
40 miles per gallon. But I didn't like the idea that it was front-wheel drive
Right.
because here you're not gonna get away, too far away with a front-wheel drive. So they had this other model which was all-wheel drive. And it did about 30 miles per gallon. And I was like, that sounds like a good number.
And now, is this just strictly gas engine?
It's a gas engine itself. It's just gas.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I want 30 miles per gallon on
Right,
that truck.
yeah.
Because like even if you look at like a Toyota Tacoma, that's what my next pick is, like Toyota Tacoma. If you wanted a Toyota Tacoma, it's about like 20,000, and it has like 100,000 miles, 120,000 miles on it.
Right,
I guess 15 miles per gallon, and I was like, 120,000 miles on it. It does 15, 16 miles per gallon. I was like, no.
Yeah.
So this one came like a better, and it was like a brand new one. I think it was for like 22 or 23, 0 miles.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I want that.
Right, yeah.
I want 30 miles per gallon, 0 miles. And then, so that's what I did is I got a truck. So that's how, and it's been so nice driving it around.
Right, yeah.
Like it feels like a Subaru. I was like, this is probably how it feels like to drive a Subaru around. It was like, it's so nice. I was like, going through snow and everything, I was having zero problems. And I knew my other cars would be like struggling with the front wheel drive because I've always had a front wheel drive or rear wheel drive, never like an all wheel drive.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get this started. I feel like I've been just telling you about my truck.
Good.
I don't know if you need a truck, but that was an ad for Ford Maverick.
I just got my truck.
Oh, yeah. So you just got it.
Actually, they gave me an enormous price on my trade-in. They gave me $34,000
Wow.
on my trade-in on a Dodge pickup that I paid $28,000 for.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing that. It's like they're giving people more money now.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's like the chip shortage. Something to do with the chip shortage. Like they don't have enough chips for the cars.
Yeah.
So they're like, when somebody goes in to trade a car, they're giving him like good money now.
Good money. Yeah.
I even saw something where some guy like had a truck for like I don't know how many years, and then he did what you did. And they give him more money.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what?
I was surprised when they told me how much I was going to give me for trade.
Yeah. You're like, all right, let's do this.
We'll do this.
It's like you almost got a free truck that you drove around. They're just like, we'll pay you to drive it around.
Because I was getting about 7 or 8 miles a gallon running around town with the Dodge pickup.
Yeah, these goddamn trucks, man, I'm telling you. Anyways, let's... All right, welcome to a new podcast. I have Art Hoag here, right? Is it Art Hoag?
It depends on who you talk to.
Okay.
My mother says Hoag.
Hoag.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's Hoag. Everybody said Hoag, so I said okay.
Oh, that's kind of like, you're like, okay. That's kind of like something that happened to me. In Bosnia, they have this letter with a C and a V on it. It's ch. So in school, like when they were like saw my name Arnell and then says Culum, they didn't carry over the V on top of the C, so they all started calling me Colum, but it's really Cholum, with the ch. So I was like, I was like, whatever, like, call me whatever you want.
Right, yeah, as long as you pay me.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, maybe we should start off like how you and I met, because there's like a little backstory on that too. Because like I've known you for like so long, you know.
So actually, I was starting the Art and Soul event. It was about 12 years ago.
Yes.
And I come to see you about doing a web page and helping set that up.
Yeah,
so
at
that
the
was
time,
it.
at the time, I was working
right down the street.
For a company called KRRS.
Right.
We went around and we did IT support for different businesses.
Right.
I think I was working for KVT, doctors, dentists. Anybody that had a problem with their computer,
right.
My boss would basically send me out, and I had to go figure out what was wrong with their computers and their whole network. I was like, what you guys do,
We continued using that same setup until just a couple of years ago when, who was your old boss?
Owen Robbins.
I wound up with a little problem, and he was kind of going out of business, and he was sick and stuff like that. And so
I heard he passed away. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I think...
But he was in kind of rough shape that year, and so things didn't work out. So eventually it was turned over. The Art Council got somebody else, and they set up a different page. But we used that same page up until about 2 years ago.
How did... where did this Art and Soul idea come from? Because I remember you telling me.
Right.
I want everybody to know.
I did an art contest here in town, about 12, 13 years ago, and it was like pulling teeth to get any artists. I think I got 12 artists, and I finished. I said, never again. I'm done with this, And then a friend of mine called me one day. I don't know if you know the sculpture down at the library of the little boy with the birds.
Oh yeah,
called The Flight of Learning.
Yeah. I've heard about it. I've seen that one.
Right.
I know.
Right.
It looks like this in a book or something.
So a friend of mine called and said, "Hey, our library boy's on TV." And so I went and checked. It was Al Roker was doing a weather report in Grand Rapids, Michigan, standing in front of a sculpture like that. Oh. So that artist had entered his sculpture into the contest in Grand Rapids, which they gave away $500,000 in prize money.
That's a lot of money.
And the first place artist is $200,000.
Wow.
They have
winning the jackpot.
They have from 12 to 1,600 artists from around the world enter that contest. It brings in 50,000 people, or 140, 300,000, 400,000 people into Grand Rapids for this art show.
Wow.
I thought, now that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And so I thought, maybe that'll work. So that's the concept I picked up on to get this contest going. And it was a struggle getting anybody interested. I about ready to give up on Twin. I went over to Jerome and talked to their chamber about it.
Yeah, like, hey.
Yeah.
I remember you were going around everybody. Yeah, you were going to everybody. You were pitching. You were almost kind of like pitching this to everybody.
Oh, yeah. And so my wife was saying, well, maybe we ought to wait and do it next year. I said, no, we're going to do it this year. I says, whatever it costs, we're going to give away $10,000 this year.
Yeah.
And
that's a good chunk of money.
So we just went forward with it, and a lot of the businesses downtown come on board, and they've been on board ever since. So we've had good support here in the downtown area for this event.
Yeah.
And the idea behind it is the businesses are the venues to hosting the artwork. Well, the artists, it costs them $50 to be in the event. But in order to officially be in, they have to have a sponsor and a venue. So it's people in the community kind of are jurying this show, the different businesses and stuff.
Yeah.
So once it's set up, then the public comes in to view the artwork, and they get to vote to choose the winning artwork. And then, so it engages everybody in the community. It's just really a good concept.
Yeah, it's like the way it's like an artist goes to a business and says, "Hey, will you sponsor me?"
Yeah.
And how much does the business have to pay to go ahead and have one of those?
It costs $125 for an artist.
$125
to be a venue or a sponsor.
Oh, okay.
So for each artist that comes in, you're raising like $250, $300.
Okay.
So that's where the money comes from for the prize money.
Gotcha.
To put on the contest. So it's relatively inexpensive for the artist. And for $125 investment into advertisement.
Just like a business is donating that. It's like a chump change for a lot of businesses. That's like a great deal.
And the thing is, for that amount of money, there's no other form of advertisement that's going to bring the foot traffic into your business you're going to get with this.
Yes.
So it's great because it really draws people are excited to be part of this. When we first started it, people have lived here all their lives, and they would come down. I never knew this business existed down here.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a good way for businesses to get their name out there and get the visibility of the public.
We did something like that with 150 Main, where we had those the stickers, and then we had people go to different businesses. And the same exact thing people were saying. I had no idea this business existed because we were like getting them to go there. And everybody loved it. All the businesses involved, they got a bunch of foot traffic. People that came in there bought stuff. Because like...
I bought a car from every dealer that's been on board.
Well, I mean, it at least gets you foot traffic is the way I kind of see it.
That's what's important about advertising. It's getting that foot traffic into your store.
Foot traffic into your business,
because you're not going to sell anything until you get that foot traffic.
Exactly. It's a brilliant idea itself. So you guys put up flags. Where these art pieces are at.
Right. So a yellow flag with a red heart on it identifies where the artwork is at.
Gotcha. And you also have like a list of where all of these artworks are on as well.
So people, when they in order to vote in the contest, you have to have your feet on the ground in Twin Falls.
Yes.
And you have to register, and you get a voting number. In fact, you helped me set up the numbering system.
I remember that. This was like this was complex. We were like trying to figure out how to make it so that nobody can cheat.
That's right. Yeah.
It was like I was like, I don't know exactly how you want to do this. And then you had this whole like, okay, you're generating these numbers. And I was like, oh my God, how are we going to do this? Because it had to be like a number that, it was like generated. I think it was like a random number generator, and then you had these numbers that you were picking from, and then you give that. It was almost kind of like everybody gets a social security number. So that way, somebody can just go and be like, oh, I'm voting. Because I'm sorry, your social security number does not exist.
So that's been, it really, how do you make this as fair as possible? Because, a lot of times, people want to come in and they want to vote for their favorite son.
Yes.
They don't want to see the art. They don't want to do anything else. I said, well, too bad. In order to vote, you have to vote like last year, I think we had 16 categories of art.
Uh-huh.
So we allow the voters to have the ability to vote for one in each category.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
we can't control what category they used in, so they might put all 16 votes in their sculpture category if there's 16 there.
Yeah.
But they can't vote more than once on any artist,
Gotcha. Yeah.
and they have to vote 16 times.
Yeah, there you go.
and every time that voting site opens, it opens up in a different. It opens up different.
Oh, opens up differently. So it's like different. So you can't go A.
So if this person, okay, I'll do that. They go in and they vote for their son, and then they go down the line and vote for the next ones down.
Yeah.
Well, if you kept the same thing going all the time, pretty soon that top one gets filled up.
Yes.
So every time it opens up different.
That's
random.
You know what's interesting? That's how like the voting works.
Yeah.
So like the ballot,
Right.
when people get their actual voting ballot
Right.
for city council, the names shift around.
Right, yeah,
So
right.
that way, like, because I was talking to Perry Gardner, and she
Yeah.
was telling me about she's like, that stuff shifts around. So this ballot that you're showing me here is not going to be the same if you
Right.
go vote over there. So you have to know who you're voting
Right,
for.
yeah. And
you
so
know?
it's quite a process to make sure it's as fair as possible, because when you're giving away, well, last year the top artist got $12,000,
Yeah.
and the top artist in each category was getting like $1,000.
Yeah.
And so people get creative.
Yeah. They're like, how are we gonna?
Yeah.
How are we gonna do this? That you also had a category where you could just be entered to win by just going and seeing these artworks
Right.
as well too.
So when you sign up and you register and you get your voting number, you get what they call a yellow walking sheet. And it's divided into sections of the town
Yes.
and shows where all the work is at. And so as you go around, each venue has a unique number.
Yes.
And so if you get all those numbers and you turn that sheet back in, then you get entered into a drawing for some artwork or stuff at the end of the contest.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a great way
Right.
of somebody just that has not entered any artwork
Right.
to be entered to participate as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you guys did that until you told me this. I was like, what?
And so some people really work hard to get around and see every piece of artwork. It's important.
It's great. I went around and I visited as many as I could, and I made a video about it. And then I posted it on my Facebook page, and then everybody loved it because it's like, that's my artwork right there.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Actually, when last year, I think it was, when I went around to pick up the flags at the end of the contest and made my tour to every place, I put on 32 miles on my truck
Wow.
to pick up the flags.
Yeah. It takes a while, but it's a great way to go ahead and get everybody involved in these
Yeah,
different businesses.
right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's also a great way to help out, the town and kind of show the artists
Right.
that are, doing stuff itself. So now tell us, somebody might be seeing this and they're like, I've never heard of this. This is the first time I'm seeing this art guy. How do I get involved in
Yes.
this?
Well, as an artist, you only got a few days left to get signed up.
Oh no! You gotta get on this now.
Because they have a deadline, because then they got to match up the venues and the artist, and they print out a program and everything.
Yes.
So there's a deadline at the end of the month for the artist.
It's the end. It's almost the end of the month.
Right.
We have how many
So-
more days is it?
So the thing is, your artwork doesn't have to be completed. The artwork doesn't have to be completed until June 10th when you show it.
so you got to get a venue.
So once you get your entered as an artist, then if you're in the process of doing your work, you can still kind of work at that.
on it, yeah.
But you need to get an image of your artwork into them as soon as possible, because they put together this program. And if you don't have your image to them, that doesn't show up in the program.
Yeah.
But the artist basically registers, and it costs the artist $50 to be
Yes.
part of the contest. And they go to magicvalleyhasart.com or to contact the Art Council, Magic Valley Arts Council.
Yes.
And once they're registered as an artist, then they can find their own venue or sponsor, or the venues and sponsors will find them.
Oh, that's
So
I
it
didn't
works
know-
both ways.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So it works that way as well.
Right. So a lot of artists come on board. They don't know the different businesses, but then the businesses take a look and see what's available, and
then they'll
so
be
they're
like, hey,
different-
you can put your
right.
stuff here. So that's something new I didn't
Yeah.
understand. So you're saying that businesses can also reach out to the art council and then be
Right.
placed into there, and then somebody looking for a business
Right.
will
Yes,
be able
right.
to go ahead and
Right. So a lot of businesses, they don't know an artist and they don't know how to go about it. But once they're registered on board as a venue for the contest, then the art council helps line them up with the artist.
Gotcha.
And bring them together. And so, like right now at my gallery, I have 4 artists at the present time. The artist reached out to me as a business and said,
Okay.
"Can I show my artwork there?" And I said, "Sure, here."
Sure. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Nice.
Yeah, and so then if a business knows an artist, and we have that happen sometimes, a business, my grandson's an artist, or my friend, they reach out to them, say, hey, you want to come in and show your artwork here?
Nice. Yeah. I think this is a win-win for everybody.
It is.
It's literally
Yeah.
a win-win for everybody. The yellow flags go up. Now, when do the yellow flags go up, and when do people start, hitting the streets?
10 June,
10th?
10th of June.
10th of June. 10th of June. Mark your calendars.
Right. 10th of
you know?
June to the 2nd of July.
Now, let me ask you this question. Okay, so let's say my 10th of June is coming up and I don't have that flyer. Do I go to the Magic Valley Art Council and then get a flyer? Where do I get this flyer from?
Well, actually, you can get the flyer at any business that is part of the contest.
Oh, okay.
When just prior to the show starting, every business gets this little bag with their number on it, and it's got the yellow walk-in sheets in it.
Yes.
So any business that's part of it will have a copy of that walk-in sheet. Now, in order to vote, you have to go to the Arts Council and get your voting number.
Where is that?
It's elevation 436.
Yeah, well, I knew that.
And then also, anytime, a lot of times different businesses have parties.
Oh, okay.
Come meet my artist.
Oh, okay.
And so an event goes on around town, and a lot of times downtown, all the businesses kind of get together on one weekend, and it's a downtown event. There'll be a representative there that can sign people up with the voting number.
Yeah, you get your special social security number.
Right, yes.
So people can cheat.
Right, yes.
I like that. Yes. So, wow. Yeah, it's you've got an interesting operation here. Like I said, it's and I like how you're making it so that it's fair.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's fair. I mean, obviously, if a family's got like 10 family members, they're gonna have 10 votes on there.
Right,
You
but,
can't.
but they're also going to have to vote for 15 or 16 other people.
Exactly. So hopefully they go check out that stuff and then go check out the artwork itself. We had like a minimum that people had to go and visit. Is there a minimum that they have to visit, or did they just vote?
No.
No.
It's you can't really control that. So what they do is what they
We
do.
did
Yeah.
with stamps. You know?
But the closest we get to that is when they're going around with their sheet and they get that number.
Oh, yes.
But they don't have to do that.
Oh, okay. So they can you're making it easier for them.
We try to encourage them to do that, but they don't have to. So
Gotcha.
the ones that do that get entered into the event.
So here's another question. How many years? I've lost track of how many years this has been
12.
running.
This is, I think, the 12th year.
This is the 12th year
See,
running this?
I turned it over to the Magic Valley Art. I started it under the auspice of the Art Guild of the Magic Valley. And essentially, my wife and her secretary and myself
Yes.
put it on. Then I think the third year, the Art Council partnered with me
Yes.
to put it on, and then we turned it over to them. They've got a paid staff. They got a better organization than what I
Yes.
had to be able to
Yeah.
manage and put it on the show.
Very logical, yeah, because like
Right.
they probably thought it was a great idea too. They were like,
Right.
"This is amazing."
Well, it took a couple years to get them to buy in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
yeah. I mean, you got the
Yeah.
the nice thing is you got the ball rolling,
Right, yeah.
And then I think if people started seeing like this is pretty cool, so they most likely just bought in and
Keep
so
on
forth.
going, yeah.
Keep it going.
I mean, I'd like to see that prize money actually get up to about $100,000.
Yeah. So
and expand further out into the valley. So like Filer and Kimberly and
Yeah. So
But
we're currently just doing it in Twin. We're
Just
not
in
expanding
Twin.
it to
Right.
Jerome and
Right.
so forth. I'm not sure exactly who you would need to get in touch with.
in order to do that, those different communities would have to have a minimum number of artists showing in their community. Because if I just got one person in Kimberly showing it,
Yeah.
how many people are going to go over there and look at it?
That's true.
But if I got 40 or 50 artists in Kimberly, then people are going to start traveling around the valley. Yeah.
Now, other artists that do live in Jerome and Kimberly, can they go have a business in town show? Or is this only strictly for Twin Falls itself?
I'm not quite sure.
So, like, if I live in Jerome,
Right.
can I go ahead and find a business in Twin to go ahead and sponsor my artwork?
Oh, actually, anybody from anywheres can enter the contest.
Oh.
We've had people from Africa and England.
Oh, look at that.
So
So, it doesn't
any-
matter where you're at.
Any artist from anywheres can enter the contest.
Nice.
The thing is, the artwork is going to show right now just in Twin Falls.
Gotcha.
So-
So this is a great benefit for Twin Falls.
My vision to start with is it the valley wide. But like say, in order for Kimberly or Jerome or something, they need a minimum number of people,
Yeah.
and they need their own kind of sub-organization to manage that.
Yeah, kind of like the Magic Valley
Right.
Art Council itself
Correct.
that basically kind of helps out with that. So that way,
Right.
all of them are kind of running it. Somehow they have to figure it
Right,
all out where
right.
everybody works together.
But
with
you
each
figure
other.
if it covers the whole valley and you've got 1,000 artists showing their work around town and you got a prize money of $100,000,
Yeah.
it really brings Magic Valley alive.
Yeah, people will be like, I want this $100,000.
Right,
So
yeah.
what's the current prize pool right now?
Last year we gave away $43,000.
That's a lot of money.
The first place artist.
That's a lot of money.
First place artist got $12,000.
Even that,
Yeah.
that's a lot
Yeah,
of money.
nice-
$10,000.
nice chunk.
Yeah.
$12,000.
$12,000. Yeah, you
And
could.
then each category gets between $500 and $1,000 for the winner in each category.
Oh.
So if I win the top prize, I can't also win the best of my category. It drops down. The next person picks that up.
Okay.
And then if I win the top prize, I have to set out a year.
Oh,
I
really?
I can't come back next year.
Oh, so you're trying to make it as fair as much as possible.
And so you have to have a minimum of 10 artists in a category to qualify for the $1,000 prize.
Okay.
And if you don't have that, then it's a $500 prize for that category.
Gotcha.
So let's say there's only 6 or 7 artists in a category and there's a $500 prize. That's pretty, the odds are pretty good.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think anywhere that, because these artists, right, they love what they're doing anyway.
Right,
So,
yeah.
like, if this gives them, like, a chance to win some, like, money for
And
just
also
doing what
the
they love.
artwork's for sale.
Oh, really?
So if somebody sees it, hey, I want to buy that. And we've had pieces that have sold during the contest.
Oh.
So the artist sells their work, plus they have the ability to possibly win a prize.
You know who the statues, the animal statues
out
that's on the Canyon Rim Trail.
They were an entry. They were an entry in Art and Soul.
Entry. I was like,
they were out in front of KMVT.
so that guy was like, I'm gonna buy these
Right.
and put them in my yard. It's so
Well,
cool.
the horse down in the 5 Points.
Oh,
That was an entry in Art and Soul.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, that was a local artist that did that. Yeah.
Wow, look at that. So
Yeah.
people can go ahead and put their artwork for sale as well.
Right,
too.
yeah.
This is just great exposure
So I pay
for everybody.
I pay $50 to put my artwork in front of a few thousand people for 3 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
think this is like the more details you're giving me here, I was like, well, of course that makes sense.
Right,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? It's like, why wouldn't they want to sell it when all these people are coming checking
Right,
it
yeah,
out?
yeah.
Do they have prices on there, or do they just kind of like you contact the
You contact the Art Council.
you contact the
Yeah,
art council
the
and then
art-
they kind of message the person like,
Right,
well, somebody
right.
wants to buy this,
Right.
and so forth. I had no idea. you
So
could buy that.
actually, we put out a program, a book
Mm-hmm.
that goes in. Anything that's for sale has a little heart by it and says for sale.
oh,
So that people will know that piece of artwork is available.
Ah.
And then wherever the artwork is showing, there's a sign next to it, and it'll have a logo on it that indicates it's for sale.
oh,
Then
look at-
wherever the artwork is showing, there's a card there that
Mm-hmm.
lists the artist and a little bio about the piece of artwork, but it also lists their sponsor, because some people don't have a business,
yes.
but they want to be part of the contest, so they become sponsors.
Oh, so they
for
can.
the-
So
for
they
the
become. So wait a second. Say that again.
So let's say I don't have a business, but I want to be part of the event.
Yes.
So I can sponsor an artist.
Okay.
So an artist needs a sponsor and a venue.
Okay.
And sometimes they're the same. The venue that will be a sponsor also.
Yes.
But a lot of times it's different. So somebody else comes on board as a sponsor. So really the show is juried, but it's juried by the public at large.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people come on board that just want to support the arts in the community. And
So they just pay the
fee to be a sponsor.
To the sponsor,
Right.
and then some businesses like,
Pay the venue fee.
the
Right.
venue fee
Yeah.
or so forth.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So for a business that really doesn't have the ability to show a piece of artwork, then they get their name out there as a sponsor on that piece of artwork.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I feel like we learned just a lot just from all of that. I feel like a lot of times, like KMVT and Times News tries to summarize what you just said in like a minute.
Right. And you can't do it.
And you can't do it. You gotta have this whole conversation
Right,
that you and
yeah.
I just had.
Yeah.
To go ahead and get the whole because they have like a minute or 3 minutes
Right.
that they gotta get the story out or whatever.
Right.
You know
and
what I mean?
catch a highlight of it, but they really don't catch the full impact.
You need
of,
the whole details,
Yeah,
like what
right,
you just you know
yeah.
I just talked or so forth. But
That's
yeah.
a bad thing about the news media like that. It's got to be such short where, it's even like with like PBS, their news, they spend more time talking with somebody rather than that.
Just tell me the news.
Right. Yeah.
Just tell me the news.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we have the gist of how all of that
Right.
essentially kind of runs. Is there? They can also get more information, obviously, on the website.
Right.
So, like, this is kind of like the audio, video version of that kind of summary itself. Is there anything else that you think people need to kind of know about that particular aspect of how to enter Art and Soul?
They just, if they really have a question left after this,
Yeah.
just contact the Arts Council.
Okay.
And the Art Council will,
They'll
give
give them the
detail.
information.
Or you just go on the webpage, magicvalleyhasart.com.
Yes.
And it lists the guidelines and stuff. But, if they still have questions, call the Art Council or call me. My number is 208-421-1311.
Everybody now has
Yeah.
Art's number.
And also, I have my little park. They can meet me at the park down here on Main, or
Yes.
they can meet me at my gallery down here in Maine.
Let's talk about a little bit of that. This is a great segue into that as well. Let's talk about first the park, or do you want to talk about the
Park.
Okay, so not that many people know that you have a park. This is like, when I go look at that park, I'm like, this is better than the city park. Like it's so much cooler. You got like all kinds of neat stuff in there. There's a giant chessboard, a bunch of stuff for kids. I mean, it's like, this is how you do a park.
Yeah.
It's like not as big as I was thinking myself, I was like, my God, if the city just gave you the whole city park and it's like, this is arts now, I think we would have the coolest park in anywhere in Idaho. But tell us about the park a little bit.
Well, the park is not better than any other park. It's just different.
I say it is.
It's different. It's different. Each one has it. The city can't do a park like I'm doing.
That's true. That's very true.
Otherwise we got to pay more in tax money to take care of it.
We would be fine
Right.
with that. Like if you make a
Right.
cool park like yours,
Right.
But
But I used to travel around the country doing art shows for about 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
And then my wife got sick with cancer.
Okay.
And I needed something to do, and we couldn't really travel anymore. And so I bought this vacant lot down here on Main and created a park.
just you're like,
Right.
This is a park now.
Right. And it's just open to the public, to come in and enjoy. And I actually turned it, the legal ownership for the park is the Art Guild of the Magic Valley,
Oh, okay.
because I wanted to get it under a 501c3.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so I thought, rather than creating my own 501c3, I'll partner with somebody in the community, and the arts is my interest.
Yes.
So I partnered with the Art Guild, and
Okay.
I legally transferred the property to the Art Guild, which
Right.
is kind of a dying organization.
Yeah, you're like, I need this transfer to me.
But also, they weren't a 501c3.
Oh.
Actually, when I first did the transfer, I was looking at the paperwork, and the lawyer that did the transfer stuff for me, he actually gave me my house too.
What?
I said, hey, no, we can't do that.
What? I would be like, there's some paperwork errors here, you know?
So basically, I had to create a 501c3 for the Art Guild. So it's still the legal ownership is the Art Guild, but I'm kind of the person responsible for it.
Gotcha. Well, that's
right.
smart. That's smart doing it. What's in the park? I know you even have a train. You have a little train. I was like, what is this?
So to start with, when you come into the park, the walkway in there forms a labyrinth.
A labyrinth.
A labyrinth. And a labyrinth is a walk that always takes you to the center of something. Where a maze you can get lost in, a labyrinth you can't. It always takes you to the center.
Okay.
And then you could follow it back out. It'll take you back out.
Yeah.
And it's used a lot by people as a kind of a meditation walk. You don't have to think about where you're going. You just focus. You can just kind of meditate and walk. And so there's nice soft music playing. And so you're walking the labyrinth. And from the street to the center of the park is a 1/4-mile walk. In the park.
In the park? Are you sure? That seems like it's just
So it just wanders all around and you get to see the whole park.
Okay.
And you wind up at the center where there's a fountain.
I never even noticed that, but now that you're saying it, I'm like, I'm going to go check this out again.
Then, of course, now around this fountain is a model railroad system. Leon Martin lives over on 2nd Avenue over here, and he came in one day, and he's really a train buff.
Yeah.
And so I think he was looking for a place to play with his train.
Yes.
So I dedicated an area, and we've been creating a model train system in there.
Yes.
And so him and his wife will come in several times a week during the summertime and play with their trains and entertain whoever's there.
I remember I just showed up on that. I was like, "What's this? A train?" And then you turned it on, and it was like going, and I was like, "This is freaking cool!
Right.
I've never seen this."
Then on the building next door to the park, which is built, they do T-shirts and hats and screen printing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Originally, it was Magic Valley floor covering.
Yes.
And
it used to be like a aquarium or something like
that's
that.
That's right.
I don't know if you
prior
remember
to that, it was a gas station.
Oh,
it was an
really?
Asian market there for a while.
Oh, okay.
So it's changed over time. But the wall, big blank wall, never had a drop of paint on it. And so I went to the guy that had the Magic Valley floor cover and said, "Could I paint your building?" And he said, "Sure." So I got a local artist went to the library, and we found this picture of the city park from 1918.
Oh.
And we hired a local artist to paint that on the wall.
Wow.
Yeah. And,
okay. See, you're telling us some details that people are like, what?
So actually in the picture, there's a gazebo. And
yes.
So the original city park had a gazebo in
yes.
it. And it burned down in 1922, and they built the band shell.
Oh, so it burned.
Yeah.
See, nobody told me about the burning down of the gazebo itself. I know they replaced it with the band shell, and the band shell is used with like the city rock, the lava rock or something like that.
Right, yeah.
Somebody told me like how much it was made for, and there used to be also like a school there, where you know where the jail is now.
Yeah, that was the junior high.
Yeah, there was like a junior high.
Yeah, I used to go to concerts there.
Really?
Yeah.
You're like I remember that.
Before, they threatened to put me in there after they took the school down. When they put the jail in, they said, "You can go over there now too."
You never want to go over there. You know, it's not a good. You never want to go over there.
Right. So speaking of that, they've got this rose garden over there now. Well, now they're going to expand their facility down there, so they're going to dig up all those roses. So if you have a rose planted there for somebody and you want to save it, you need to go down there and get it dug up.
Get it
right.
while you can.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah. What else do you have going on? So you have a chessboard, like a just
chess and checkers. So
chess and checkers.
It's an 8-foot board.
That's so cool. I was like, that's just like. We looked at that like with my family, and I was like, maybe we need to buy one of these because like my dad loves chess, and everybody like kind of play that. Like, so what kind of things do people say when they go into that park? Like, what are their reactions? Like, are they like, I never
actually the best compliment I ever got. This guy was wandering around. And he says, this place will just take the meanness right out of you.
Yeah.
So it's just a relaxing. There's always kind of soft music playing. It's a satellite radio station, and just kind of a relaxing, laid-back environment, but a great place for kids just to play. There's a sandbox.
Look at that. You're like, here's something for the kids.
There's a couple pianos.
A piano?
2 pianos.
You have pianos over there as well?
Right. And actually, a lot of times you hear people out there playing them.
Playing a piano, wow.
And so, it's just, and there's a lot of little toys for the kids to play with. There's a rock slide that was actually an entry in Art and Soul one year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My God. Yeah, that park is so cool. I just wish it was bigger, but you only have a lot that you
Right,
can work with. So it's like you're very limited on what you can go ahead and do with it.
My goal is to get property on one side or the other.
Oh, yeah.
And move my gallery down there.
That would be amazing.
And create kind of a little coffee shop, an art gallery, and a working art center.
Let's make this happen, people.
Yes. Yeah. So the building that I really would like is the one that the mural's on. So I've tagged the building.
Yeah, you've tagged the building. You're like, I want this.
And then out in front of the building, there's a tractor with wind sculptures on it. That was an entry in Art and Soul one year.
Oh, yeah.
So I take care of the landscaping out there. So, kind of encroaching on it. They know I'm interested.
They're like, okay, he's moving in.
Right.
The next thing you know, you're like moving your
Right.
art into their facility.
Yeah.
They're like.
So I've been waiting for 17 years.
You've been waiting for 17 years. You should buy them a lot and be like, hey, you go here, I'll take that.
Actually, I sent a realtor to see him one time, see if he could find a place for him.
Yeah, you're like, it's like, listen, I really, really, really want to make this dream come true. So that way, that would be so amazing. Imagine like a coffee shop there, an art studio, and a park. I think, ideally those 3 properties, one on the left and then one on the
absolutely.
right. And then I think you have enough.
I tried to buy the one on the right side, the old Miller Apartments, but he just wanted more than I could afford.
Yeah.
And actually, nobody could borrow money to buy the building. Nobody could even get insurance on it.
Yeah.
The only way he could sell it was either cash or owner contract.
Gotcha.
And so eventually he sold it to somebody under owner contract, and it's been empty now for 7 years.
Yeah, it's like I hate seeing buildings like that where they're just vacant.
Actually, it's been better being vacant than it was when it was in operation.
Yeah, it's probably true because, things might just fall apart. And,
actually, it was kind of a lot of drug problems and stuff like
really?
that there. Yeah, it wasn't a really positive environment next to the park.
I'm going to tell the city, I'm like, listen, you guys buy this and hand it over to a 501c. There you go.
Yeah, right.
And then you're helping the town itself.
So I actually offered him $100,000.
Oh, okay.
Hinged on architects or engineers taking a look and see if the building was even salvageable.
Yeah, you probably have to demo it.
If you got to demo it,
then you're paying for the land, essentially.
Right, and it's not $100,000.
No,
it's going to cost me a big chunk to get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's no way that's like that structure is not.
It's a pretty solid structure. It was built in 1910, so the basic structure, the bone's good, but the foundation is shot. And, it's a lot of...
Definitely an expert would have to come in. We're just kind of like...
Can I keep the skeleton and do something with it? And that was my question. And so I told him, I'd give him $100,000 if it was possible to do something. But
nice.
He wasn't interested in that.
I feel like if you had control of the 3 properties right there, you could definitely make that like a paradise. And then I like the idea that here's the thing, okay? Downtown almost feels like it starts from there's 2 blocks.
Right. It starts here at Shoshone.
Yeah.
And goes a couple blocks out.
Yeah, it's like 2 blocks, and then they're like, "We're done with this." And then all of the money.
Eventually, it's going.
Yeah, it's eventually going to get further out, but they put a lot of money into just these 2 blocks itself. Right. Where, in my opinion, I would have stretched it out all the way out, so that way it benefits everybody. On that.
You got to start somewhere, and rather than a little bit, let's really. I like what they're doing, the direction they're going.
People that I've talked to, the downtown is much better than what it used to be. Right. I don't know if you remember, there used to be meter here.
Right.
And then they're like, let's get rid of this so that way people come and shop here.
I thought, it's moving in the right direction. It just takes time. And
it's a slow progress.
When I was a kid, Fox Flora was down by my gallery.
Oh, okay.
The Montgomery Ward store was down near my gallery.
Yeah.
Sears and Roebuck was there. Main Street. Businesses all up and down Main Avenue, and just kind of the year I come back here in '87 is things are really going down. And they built the mall, and everybody run away.
Yes, so everybody ran to the mall. Right, I do remember that. Yeah. Now it's like.
Right.
I don't want to talk bad about the mall.
But all over the country, it's the same process.
Yeah.
They come in with these malls.
Yeah.
Emptied the downtowns, and the downtowns went into chaos, and eventually
everybody comes back to downtown.
Yeah. So it's just it just continues that way across the country. We're just a few years behind. I watched it back in the 70s in Virginia, I saw that same thing happening. So we're just a few years behind that.
Gotcha. That's very interesting. Yeah, that does also happen all the time.
Right.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend anybody go check out that park. It's really cool. They had Pokemon Go stuff there.
Right, yeah.
Did that affect were you like, how did you hear about this Pokemon Go?
Well, actually, I was on a bicycle ride across country.
Yeah.
And I was someplace, and I saw all these people going around with their cell phones. And what are they doing?
Yeah.
Then I got back here from my bike trip, and I saw all these people pulling up in front of my park, and they never get out of their car. They just sit there in the car idling, either with the heat on or the air conditioner on, and they're looking at their phone. And
yeah,
I found out what it was.
I still see people doing that.
Part of that is there's a picture of that mural on that.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's one of the spots. But usually they never get out of their vehicle. They just pull up in front.
How dare they? They just sit. These are lazy people. Like it's a beautiful park, and they're just like in their car trying to catch Pokemon.
But another one that has brought a lot of attention to the park is Geocache.
Oh, really? Yeah. I tried getting into that a little bit.
See, actually, the geocache is a good one because it gets you out on your feet and going around. And there's actually a cache in the park.
Oh.
Somebody approached me about that one of the first years of the park. So there's been something there from the beginning. I get people from all over the country show up. They show up in Twin and let's go out and do geocaching.
Yeah.
And so, because it's happens all over the world.
Yes.
And so it's really quite a big thing. And so I get a lot of people that show up at the park. They're just visiting town, and the geocache brings them there.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
You would have never thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
I tried doing that once, finding one of those, because for people that don't know what geocaching is, it's like an app you download and it tells you like there's something, it's like a hidden treasure somewhere. Yeah. And then it kind of gives you an idea of where it's at, and you got to go there and try to find it.
Right.
And I tried doing that once, and I just couldn't find the thing. I was like,
well, that's a problem. Some of them haven't been maintained, and so you go out there and it's not there anymore.
Yes,
it's disappeared. Basically it gives you the coordinates.
Oh yes.
And so actually, when it first started, people had the handheld GPS units.
Yes.
I could see them when they come in the park.
They're like, oh, this guy's looking for the geocache.
Most of them have it on their phone now, so they, but I can still tell it. You can just watch them starting to wander.
And they're like, dee, dee, dee. It's like a metal detector. Right. You're trying to get closer. You're like, you're getting hotter.
Yeah.
And you know where it's at. So you're like a little bit closer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. But that whole Pokemon Go stuff was mind-boggling.
Well, it still is.
People still play Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
They're all trying to take over. Like it's like a gym. I think yours is like a gym. Your park is like a gym, and then they got to go over there battle to. I remember I was like, I'm gonna be the best Pokemon person. I'm gonna take over all the parks. But some people are still avid.
Some days it'll be 4 or 5 cars out there.
Really?
They're all just sitting there, just.
It's like we need to tell these people, get out of the car, man. It's like go in the park, relax, listen to some music, like enjoy nature,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Is there anything else that you think about the park that anything has happened and then you're like, wow, that was freaking crazy? Or any interesting story that happened in the park?
No, I mean, the park is available for events if you want to reserve it for a birthday party or wedding or whatever. So it gets used a lot for events like that, so people can reserve it for periods of time for events. And
we also want to make sure that people know that this park is not open 24/7.
Right.
You
basically from 10 to 8 is kind of the posted hours, but
I think even the city park is like that too. They don't want people like a cop will come out and be like, "What are you doing in the park at 11 o'clock at night?" They're like, "You need to be out."
So I lock it up at night, usually about sunset or something like that. So and
that's where I saw you yesterday. I was on my scooter and I was like,
down there closing up.
And then I was like, "Oh, well, you got to come into the podcast."
So actually, I've been thinking I need to talk to the county sheriff or the police. I want them to come into the park. I want them to come down, park their car, get out of the car, and go walk around the park.
Oh, okay.
just to be that friendly interaction with the community.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of them kind of just walking around all the parks, so that way people kind of be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
Not just to be a presence. I was at a little park in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
And I looked over there, and He was this policeman's car's parked, and he's out there playing kickball with the kids.
Wow, that would be amazing.
And I think that, a lot of times we have a negative feeling about the police force, and I think that kind of interaction, it just brings it out of that negative atmosphere to being a positive, uplifting thing.
The police chief was at the Moss Greenhouse thing. You
yeah.
should have just had him talk right there. Hey, come on. You want to play some kickball or,
come in and play a little putting or chess game.
Or something, play with the trains.
Right,
It'd be so funny just seeing a cop playing with like a train or something like that. I'm like, this is crazy. But it's like,
I like seeing the policemen out on bicycles or on foot. It just is a different feel than driving around in a car.
Yeah, exactly. Like the biking.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if we have bike cops.
There was for a while. I don't know if they're still doing it, but we did have them. Here.
Oh, I don't know if they would be good on. Imagine like a bike patrol on Blue Lakes.
Right.
How funny would that be?
I've seen them bike around the downtown area. And some of the cars were set up to carry bikes on them, so that they could go to certain areas and they could get out and ride their bikes.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of trying to get them to be incorporated. Because also feel like then you also gonna feel a little bit safer in the park itself. Like if you see one in like a Rock Creek or something like that, at least this is being patrolled and things like that. Say hello to your fellow police officer. How's the weather? Great. I'm like, you're not gonna give me a ticket though.
But that personal contact outside of getting a ticket is really a positive thing.
Yeah, I think police should be kind of like there as like a positive where you feel like, oh man, I'm glad they're here itself. I know they used to do this thing where they would go to a club, right? Because there would be a lot of fights in a club, right? And then so they would just show up and they're just kind of walk around, hey, how's it going, and that, what that would do? That would make it so nobody would get in a fight. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, because like everybody was more on on their
good behavior
because they're like, we just saw the cops. I can't get in a fight with anybody here, or so forth. So anytime I saw like the police just coming in, strolling around in the club or so forth, I was like, this is great because like nobody's gonna get in a fight now, So I enjoy that because But so moving on from the park now, let's talk about the
Wabi Sabi Gallery.
Yeah.
So nothing was becoming available next to the park, and I wanted to have a little gallery.
Yes.
And so a piece of property come available. It's at 632 Main Avenue North. It used to be Harold Gerber's architect office.
Okay.
And it's right behind my house, and so I bought that. And then the front part is a art gallery. In the back is my workshop for doing my woodworking and stuff. Yes.
So if you guys have not seen this art gallery, it is amazing. You got some really cool artworks in there.
Jesus hangs out down there.
Jesus hangs out over there.
Actually, it was an entry in Art and Soul last year. It's a 7.5-foot sculpture
of Jesus. Huh?
Of Jesus.
I had no idea.
And he's been hanging out there for a year now.
Yes.
And I hate to kick him out.
Yeah.
I was hoping somebody might want to take him home, but so far they haven't.
So your gallery is some of the art pieces are for sale or all of them?
Oh, yeah.
Everything is for sale?
Most everything is for sale.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a number of different artists in the area. So I've got sculptures and I got paintings and I got drawing, I got photography, I got woodwork. I've got quite a selection of different types of work there by local artists.
I gotta say, you guys gotta go check this out to just see like the artwork. It's almost kind of feels like it's like you know what's crazy? Like even just people that go into your they probably go like, wow, I never knew this was here.
And there's a piano out in front now.
Hey, you got a how many pianos do you have?
Actually, I have 3 pianos. And
how do you move these around? They're so heavy.
I try not to move them. My wife says, you got 3 pianos, you ought to learn to play one. So she got me piano lessons for Christmas.
Like you got.
So I've been taking piano lessons.
That's awesome. I did this thing where I got a keyboard and it had lights, and then you pick a song and then you just follow the lights.
The lights, yeah.
And then you just memorize it, and then I could play like Beethoven and this and that. I was like, people were like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing, but I just remembered how to.
That's what I should have got. Yeah,
you got to get this keyboard, and you just remember it.
So I'm taking piano lessons.
And so the artwork that you do, and this was interesting as well to me, is you do woodworking with a lathe.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know what a lathe
So you
is.
put a piece of wood on it and spin it, and then you take hand tools and
And then it's like,
you have a tool rest, and then you bring your tool off that rest into the piece of wood and carve and create the shapes.
yeah, how did you get started in that?
Actually, I've always liked working with wood, and I was over at Jerome at a class auction one time, and there was this little wood lathe,
Yeah.
probably from back in the 40s, by a Craftsman wood lathe and set of tools, and I thought, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
And so I took it home. And of course, I had had some lathe experience with metal lathes. As a young man in high school, I used to work night shift at the Acme machine over in Filer, doing some machine work. Then in the Navy, I was a machinist on board a submarine.
Wow.
And to do machine work there.
So you were like, you already experienced with
So
lathes.
I had some lathe experience, and so I took that home, and I just fell in love with the wood lathe. It's such it's a very free form. You just figure out how to hold that piece of wood and get it spinning, and just kind of let it happen.
Yeah. I saw some of the stuff that you did, and I was like, this is really cool.
People look at some of the stuff. They said, "Did you make that?" And I said, "No. God creates, I reshape."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, God creates, I reshape.
Actually, in chess, I got a book on chess, and the pawn in front of the king is man, is a co-creator.
Oh, okay.
In fact, if you stop at the gallery, you can play chess. I've got a couple chess boards that I've made.
Oh.
And I've got this book on each chess piece has its own name.
Wow.
The king is a creator. On the other side, the king is a destroyer. The opposite, it's a battle between the light and the dark forces. And
Yes. That's really cool. Yeah, even making that's so cool. You made your own chess pieces itself. Add with the lathe.
Actually, the first chess pieces down at the park were all made on the lathe.
Oh, really?
Out of an old bridge beam.
Oh.
You got these huge bridge beams.
So you took a giant wood, and then you started carving that?
And it creosote. Oh, it was nasty.
My gosh.
But the pieces were really heavy, and
you can't pick it up.
Actually, the pieces are still down there.
Oh, really?
Down in the back. But the weather kind of checked them and stuff, and so and they were heavy, and so eventually I replaced them with the plastic ones I have.
Yeah, those probably will last longer than the weather. Like you try to kill that wood itself. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, because so people can go over there, check out the artworks, and when is that open?
Official hours are from 4 to 6.
4 to 6?
Monday through Friday.
Oh, okay.
But between that, there's a sign hanging in the door, and they can find me at Mary Ellis Park.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was thinking, how do you so this is why you need both of the, because, if you had it all in one spot, then, you would just be contained in one area.
Then it's otherwise by appointment. Just call me, and we show up. So during the winter time, then I'm in there usually most all day.
Yeah. So this would be also great for somebody that's looking for some cool artwork to put up. And these are originals. It's not like they're like a lot of times you can just buy things and they're just like a reprint or so forth. This is like, I like the idea.
All original work.
It's like, this is like getting a painting from Michelangelo. Or,
what
I mean?
And also I have a lot of books there on different forms of artwork. If a person wants to check out a book, on that. And I have a bunch of frames, excess frames and stuff like that there. So there's some different kinds of art supplies. If somebody's needing a frame for something, there are a bunch of them hanging up down there. And,
Yeah. That's really cool. I remember I did some shooting for some artist or something like that. It was really cool. She had it was like a lady with all kinds of stuff.
She came in there. You come down and did a shot with a gal. I don't know whatever happened to that. She kind of disappeared. I don't know. I never never heard any more of that.
A lot of times projects will just go whoop when they're straight down.
I think that was one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sweet.
So that was about a year ago you was doing that down there. Yeah.
I feel like I've done a lot of things with you. Sometimes I just pop in, Art, I need you to say this, or I need you to do this, And then here's another thing I wanted to talk about is the bike. The bike, what is it? How would you call it? A bike?
Cargo bike?
No. You sometimes people will see you on this bike where you have your dogs in it. That's like a really cool bike.
That's called a cargo bike.
Oh, well, I'm talking about like the bike trip that you did.
Oh, yeah. So,
want to talk about a little bit about that?
Well, I woke up one morning and I decided, I think I'll go home for my birthday.
Okay.
Well, I'm originally from New York and moved out here in 47.
Okay.
And my wife says, yeah.
Yeah, you were getting on a car or fly?
And she said, well, how about me? I said, well, would you like to drive a support vehicle?
Oh, okay.
And so she thought that was a good idea. So I thought, I need to hire somebody to take care of the park while I'm gone. So I reached out to try to find some sponsorship, and I wasn't having much luck until Chobani found out where I was going.
Yeah.
Chobani's original plant was 8 miles from my hometown in New York.
Oh,
So
okay.
Chobani put up the money to take care of the park while I was gone.
Wow. I didn't know Chobani was involved in
Yeah.
this. Really?
And so-
That's crazy. I had no idea.
I rode out of the plant here in Twin
Oh.
and into the plant back in New York.
No
Yeah.
freaking way. Yeah, that's
And then I had a
crazy.
big sign on the motorhome, home to home, plant to plant,
Yeah.
and Chobani and stuff. And
Wow, it's like
and-
great advertising
Oh, yeah.
for,
Yeah.
because like, I just imagine how many people saw this
Right.
and then they're like, what is this crazy guy doing? Because, this is like a thing that people are doing now. They're
Right.
like, they want to start like a walk across America.
Right, yeah.
I know I watched a famous person do this as well. He's the guy that did that song, I Took a Pill in Ibiza, I forgot his name. How did I forget his name? He did his whole podcast about his trip and what he kind of learned from it or so forth. So how many miles was that? Like how many days did that take you to do?
about 60 days.
Took you 60?
And so I actually set out to try to do 50 miles a day.
50 miles a day?
50 miles is a comfortable ride and still gives you time if you want to do something at the end of the day and stuff.
Yeah.
And most of the times it was a little bit over that. The longest day was 90 some miles. And
Wow.
I think I was 3 miles short of 100, and I got in, and my wife says, you need to go right around the block. Or I'd come in from a day's ride, and she says, let's go for a bike ride.
Like, no, I'm good. How
And-
was your butt after that?
Actually,
what kind of
fine. It was fine.
It was fine?
Actually, when I first started, got a little sore, and I tell bikers about this all the time, but most of them probably haven't tried it. I needed a little padding.
Yeah,
And
you had
so
to get those butt pads.
I got these women's Depends.
women's Depends.
They work great.
They were great.
Oh, by the end of the day, they were kind of shredded. But after about a week or so of riding, then everything was fine. But they were the perfect padding.
Wow. I did a bike ride from Twin
I
Falls
remember seeing that. Yeah.
to Mountain Home. We woke up around like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, went to the dog park, and we're like, let's see how far we can make it, because our goal was to make it all the way to Boise. And I made it all the way to Mountain Home, which is 100 miles.
Yeah.
At 100 miles, I was dead.
That's a good day's ride.
Yeah, that's a good
right. Yeah.
And I had zero training, nothing. It was just like, I wonder how far I can go,
Right, yeah.
And what really killed me was we took a wrong turn and we went through some gravel,
Right.
And then we did like 20, 30 miles through gravel on a road bike. And that's what was like, it was like,
No good.
my energy was just like drained after going through 30 miles through gravel
Right.
on a road bike.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like somebody's going to hit you? How were you riding against traffic, or were you
No,
driving with
I
traffic?
Ride with the traffic. Bikes ride with traffic.
Oh, a lot of people tell me like you got to ride towards the traffic.
No, with a bicycle, you operate on the same rules as a vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Walking, you walk towards traffic.
Gotcha.
But actually, I rode a bicycle trip from here to Dallas, Texas, and back one summer.
You're so crazy, man. I just cannot believe this.
Left out of here. The first day out of here, we rode to Balance Rock, and I think the temperature. It was in August, and the temperature was like 100 degrees. And
It's nuts. You're like a modern Forrest Gump with a bike, like, let's go,
Now, that trip, my wife, Mary Alice,
Mm-hmm.
rode with me. She was an avid biker.
Oh,
And so-
okay.
So we rode together. But we was averaging, a lot of times 100 miles a day on that trip because she wanted to get to a campgrounds or a safe place. She didn't like sleeping alongside the road.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times we had, longest day was like 130 miles to get somewheres.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, geez, that's
Yeah.
brutal.
Right, yeah.
That's brutal. Yeah, I know you also, when you guys came back to Twin, you had like a little police escort
right,
and everybody was like
Right.
joining that.
Oh, we
or-
did the same thing when we was taking off. We had like an escort, and the bikers joined me, and we all rode together out to the visitor center.
Oh,
Then
okay.
one guy joined me and rode with me up to the truck stop up there.
Oh, and then it was like, good luck.
See you later.
See you later.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. When
Well, I'm thinking about another trip
you're thinking about another trip,
for my 80th birthday.
listen up. This is what you guys got to do.
Yeah.
You guys got to be more open to
So,
like this kind of stuff like art is.
They're basically rails to trails. They're trying to connect all these old railroad things and turn them into bike trails and
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing.
all the way across country. So the goal is to go from Washington State all the way back to New York, 2,800 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
On these trails. When I did my last trip, I probably rode 600 or 700 miles on these types of trails.
Really?
So you're completely out of traffic, and it's really fun, and they're close to the little towns and stuff. So I'm hoping by my 80th birthday,
They have it all.
which we got 3 years to go, that they'll have it connected, and then I can make that trip across.
Make it across.
Go back home for my birthday.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Hopefully Chobani's watching this and they're like, we'll sponsor that again.
Right, yeah.
You know? That's so cool. Yeah. Like I said, I did that one trip and then I was like, I am a good, like, I needed a good solid number when I hit 100 miles.
Yeah.
I'm done. You know,
Yeah, 100 miles is a good day's ride. Yeah.
Yeah, it was-
I like a 50-mile day is a fairly comfortable day. You can start out, say, 7 or 8 in the morning. You're done by noon
yeah.
before it's hot and miserable out.
Yeah, yeah. It was like I felt like I was like, the sun was like baking me. It was like after 12 o'clock, it was miserable that until the end.
They do this ride here in Twin, different lengths of it. And so I've done it several times, and I do the 100-mile thing. Well, by the time I get back, everybody's gone home.
Oh, really?
They forgot I was even part of it.
Yeah, and this wasn't somebody with us.
Wasn't there one other rider out there somewhere?
Yes. I'm like, oh, well, hopefully it gets back.
And they don't give out any prizes for being last.
No.
But somebody has to be.
Somebody's got to be.
Yeah. And so my goal is to be a good loser,
Nice. Nice.
but finish.
But finish. Yeah, I think that's so cool. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if I would ever just walk across America or bike across America. That's a commitment.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then especially having a support vehicle itself where you can go in and sleep at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I saw this one guy, he did that with a unicycle.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I remember seeing that.
You
Yeah.
seen that? Ed something, Ed Bikes, it's like a guy, he's on a unicycle and he goes around the whole world.
Yeah.
And then he makes an episode every time he, he's like, I'm from here to here, then here to here. And every one of them is like a total different adventure.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend anybody check out all of his videos on that because I found them all entertaining and perfectly structured, how he told his story.
Kevin Bradshaw. Oh, he's a local guy here, but he followed me on my bike trip.
Oh, really?
And made a lot of posts onto Facebook and stuff.
Oh.
I tried to do a blog, but it's really hard to keep up with that, especially if you don't have good internet connections and stuff.
Yeah.
But I had this GPS kind of tracker. So people could go to my blog page and it says, "Where's Art?" You could click on it and it would show you where I was at.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And so he would follow me on that, and he would keep everybody updated on where I was at during the trip.
Nice. That's so cool. I have something like that too, but it's like if I'm somewhere lost, I
Right.
push a button and then it'll tell us,
This is the same. It could send out an SOS.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you-
It's a little tracker that I carry. In fact, my wife wanted me to have that when I was off biking somewhere if something happened, because sometimes you'd be out of cell phone range and stuff. And then if you run into a problem, you still have ability to make contact. And
Yes.
then if I didn't want her to know where I was at, I'd give it to a friend of mine.
See ya. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. I'm just, again, very impressed that you were able to go ahead and just do that itself. What motivated you to just go ahead and do that? Like what you were like, I want to go home. And then that's, you just like, then you just did it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I've kind of reached a point, and I've reached it quite a number of years ago. If I want to do something, get up and go do it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Just, okay.
All right. Yeah. I like that mentality. You don't have to be stuck into what you're doing or so forth.
I woke up one morning and thought, it's time for a change. And so I told my wife, this was Mary Alice at the time, I says, let's sell everything and buy a motorhome and go travel.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I need to think about it.
Yeah, like I need to run this through my head.
Next morning, that sounds like a good idea. And we sold everything.
Wow.
We bought a motorhome. We had $2,000 left.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent the next 3.5 years wandering around the country.
That's amazing.
And if I need money, I stop and get a job.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
That's anybody can do that. Like during this whole pandemic stuff, you know what I mean? Like they need online jobs, you know? That's crazy. Anybody can just go ahead and just up and do that.
I worked at all kinds of, painted a Quaker meeting house in Iowa, and I worked on a fishing boat in Maine and a whale watching boat, and worked on a peeling logs up in Alaska.
Wow. You just had the craziest jobs that you're like, that sounds good. I can do that. And they're like, we'll hire you. That is amazing. Just the amount of stories and the memories you've got acquired from all of that is nuts.
So I just kind of, if you want to do something, go do it. Sometimes there's a price to pay, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, money. Well, everything runs on money.
Right,
you gotta pay. Yeah. You need at least money for gas, food, and shelter.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, when we bought the motorhome, we was getting ready to go, and we come out of the bank. We'd got our money. I says, let's just sit down here and burn this. That's all. We're just going to put it in the gas tank and burn it anyways.
Yeah. Let's just burn this. That's how I feel like when I go to like Jackpot, you know, you come in there, you might as well just throw the money inside.
Walk in and throw it in and walk away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all right, see you later.
Thanks for the help.
Yeah, like, what are people doing trying to win money there, you know?
I have to do that someday when I'm independently wealthy. Just open the door and just throw a whole bundle of money in and walk away.
Yeah, there you go. I would totally do that if I had so much money. Like, money for you guys. Bye. Wow. Well, I think that's all I really wanted to kind of. We talked about it. We covered everything. I feel like. I think mainly just one or two more questions. Like with these odd jobs that you were doing, is there anything that like stands out that you were like, well, that was crazy? What was the craziest job that you had when you were doing this kind of stuff? Is there anything that pops into your head? Like, no.
I've been a janitor. I've peddled newspapers.
Yeah. How many jobs do you think you had altogether?
Oh, I've had quite a number.
You're like, I lost track.
The thing is, like when I get to some place and I say, oh, I'd like to be here. Okay.
Yeah.
Next thing I need is find a job.
Yes.
And so I take the first job available. I don't care how much it pays. I don't care anything. I just take a job because that gets me connected with that community.
Oh.
I remember when I first come back to Twin Falls last time, I got jobs mopping the floors out at Smith's Food King.
Oh, yeah. You're like, I'll take it.
Yeah. And from there, I have to get up and do something. And I meet people. And it just starts to open doors, and then life goes on.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Twin Falls?
Well, actually, we moved out here in 1947 from New York.
Okay. And what led to that?
My brother was a blue baby, had a heart defect. And back in the mid-40s, Johns Hopkins Hospital was doing operations on these blue babies.
Okay.
And basically, they had a blue complexion because they weren't getting enough oxygen.
Oh.
And so there's a great movie about it. It's called Something the Lord Has Made. It's just a perfect movie for the time period on race relations as well as this heart transformers thing.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy who really developed a lot of the procedures and trained the doctors for it was a black lab tech. He was originally hired to be the janitor, take care of the dogs that they were doing research on. So it's a fascinating movie. Well, so my brother and my parents took my brother there for this operation, and there was a couple from Clover, Idaho.
Yeah.
Brought their daughter there. And they became friends during this period of time. And when my brother healed up, we moved to Idaho.
Oh, yeah.
We knew one family at Clover. And so that's how we got to Idaho.
That's how you got to Idaho. And then how did you end up to Twin? You just what was
well,
like
actually, we spent most of the time raised in Filer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I moved into Twin.
So since you were so close to Filer, you were like, well, Twin was like right there.
Yeah. My dad, we was out on the salmon track out south of town, out by Burger and stuff. One of my goals was to come back and have the burger store.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it's gone now. Somebody run into it and burned it down or something.
No. You can still do it, if you get those properties, burgers and coffee.
They even took burger off the map. It's not on the map anymore.
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
But most of our time was spent out, on the salmon track out there. I think my dad's first job was over in Hazelton, and then kind of moved around a little bit, but he spent a lot of time out on the salmon track and farming out there.
Gotcha. Well, I think I got everything that I needed on this podcast. I think we got a lot of good info out of you right here. I think a lot of people are going to like this because they're like, oh, now I know.
Oh, one of the things on my bike trip, the first bishop for the Episcopal Church in the Northwest Territory, his original parish was in my hometown in New York.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually became the Bishop of Idaho in the territory out here.
Oh.
And so I thought it was interesting. So I went to the Bishop of Idaho and got him to write me a letter so that I could carry it back to the parish in New York where this priest, because when I was reading the history on this bishop back in New York, I could just see the image when he was talking about where he sat when he was writing his sermons and stuff down by the Morris Pond, and that's where I used to go swimming and stuff like that. So I hand carried a message from the Bishop of Idaho back to the parish in New York.
Wow. Yeah, that's like you're like a delivery boy almost, kind of like I have a hand delivered note
from the bishop.
What?
And the church I took it to was actually built probably back in the 1600s.
Wow. Okay.
It's still there.
Wow. That's
you
crazy.
get back on the East Coast, things been there a long time.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah. Well, what an interesting story, all of this stuff. It's like you're definitely an interesting guy. I can tell you that. It's like not that many people like you in Twin Falls.
Oh, everybody has a story.
Everybody's got a story.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody's got a story. That's why I'm trying to figure out everybody's story.
Yep, everybody's got a story.
Yeah,
and they're all different, and they're all unique to that individual and their community.
Nice.
So.
All right. Well, Art, I think we've got enough here.
Okay. Right.
We're at and this is a good one. An hour 15.
Okay.
We're good. This is all we needed.
Yep.
Bada bing, bada boom. This is a very interesting one. Thanks again for coming on and doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I feel like we've got
if you're an artist or a sponsor or venue, get on board for Art and Soul.
Yeah, it's so close. How many more days we got till that's what's today's date? Today
is 25th. So artists have just about 5 days left or something like that.
So it ends at March 31st?
For the entry for the artist, right.
Yeah. So you got till March 31st, people. Get on it.
Yeah.
Get on it now. We gave you all the information. You can't say anything now,
Okay, well, thank you.
All right. See you guys later. Okay. Bye. And that's it.